Well, I just stepped out of the family's home where there were many tears for those two lives taken too soon. A young family devastated. Joezra Martin tells me her son, Quincy Polk, and his fiancee, Alexis Cardenas, were in a car yesterday with their three young daughters heading to Lowe's.
I ain't never gonna see my son again. I ain't never gonna see my grandbaby again.
According to Phoenix police, they were pulling out of the parking lot on 19th Avenue and Baseline when a fight broke out between Polk and another driver who was also pulling out. Police say the two separated, only for the other driver to return to his car, grab a gun, and shoot several rounds into the family's SUV, hitting Quincy, Alexis, and their two daughters, 8-year-old Envy and 5-year-old Navy Blue.
You already killed my son. Like, why did you have to kill my grandbaby too? Now I gotta bury two of my babies.
Quincy died on scene. Envy was taken to the hospital. Today we learned Envy also passed away.
Man, this is tragic. I don't typically do the local news like this, but as many of you know, I'm in Arizona for work for right now. I'm actually in Scottsdale. So I'm about 20 minutes or 25 minutes or so from where this happened on the south side. This is a reminder for us men that we have to do better. You know, I think about how many times I've personally been in road rage incidents and how many times I got lucky and came out on top. But it was 50-50 odds each time. It could have been my mom, my relatives crying because someone got the best of me instead of being the other way around. You know, when you have an ego, when you have a temper, your temper and your ego is what's usually going to do you in. You can't afford to have a temper when you have your wife and children in tow. You can't do it. There are certain situations, matter of fact, I would say all situations, when it's going to come down to combat, if you have the option to leave, walk away. I've learned that the hard way. I've hurt many people in fights. I've been in many altercations. I'm from Los Angeles. I've lived here in Arizona before. I tell people, Arizona's not a soft place. Arizona's not sweet. And I would say that it's even worse now than it was years ago when I went to college out here and went to school here. You know, there was always a high murder rate in the Phoenix area. But, you know, years ago, it was mainly because you had a lot of black dudes that would come here from Chicago, from Detroit, from New York. And, you know, this is a border state. So there's a lot of like little short Mexican dudes who have a lot of marijuana and they're looking for black dudes to sell it. A lot of these black dudes, they would see these small Mexican men and be like, I could just take it from them. And they would. They would literally just take it. And, you know, the Mexican dudes, you don't even need a gun for them. And it never clicked on these dudes. It never clicked on the black dudes' minds that the reason the Mexican guys don't have guns is because they'll just catch you later. And you'll see the guys who just hit a lick and rob one of these Mexican dudes, and they'll be driving around with a nice car, popping bottles in the club. You'll see them for like 5-6 months. And then one day they'll just disappear. Their apartment will be there, but the door will be unlocked. Their car still sitting in the stall. Their jewelry, their money still in their apartment. The microwave just ended. TV still on. And then they'll find the body way out in the desert between Phoenix and Tucson weeks and months later. That was always the case here. But now they got a Democrat governor. So the issues at California with their Democrat BS, because we had a Republican governor, Doug Ducey, and he fought. He fought to stop the lockdown from engulfing Arizona and destroying the economy. He kept the state open as long as he could. I appreciate Doug for that. But then they had the Carrie Lake, and where they committed all the fraud to prevent her from being elected. Now you have a Democrat governor. All the problems in California, the homelessness, the overpriced property, the crime, the murder, all those same problems are now popping up here in Arizona. I remember having a Republican governor when I used to live here. I came here during the lockdown because LA wasn't safe no more. Before I went to Texas, I came to Arizona first looking for freedom. And Arizona was open. I was happy. Then Arizona closed on me one day. And I said, F this state. And I went to Vegas. The casinos were open even though the state was closed. I got bored there because they asked me to put a mask on to gamble after a couple of months. So I come back to Arizona. Arizona's open again. Great. 3 weeks later, I'm having a great time. They closed again. But they were letting the club stay open. You could go, but you had to sit down. You were not allowed to stand up and walk around. You had to sit down. Like that would make a difference if there was some deadly virus going around. Just everybody was just full retard. But when we had a governor that was a conservative, we had law enforcement. And it sucked because there'd be a lot of people getting DUIs because everybody wants to drink and drive in Scottsdale. But if you think about it, a lot of people get killed because of drunk drivers falling asleep behind the wheel, wrong way crashes on the freeway. So I kind of appreciate the high levels of law enforcement when I'm living in these places because I don't want drunk people on the road. I don't want to see people dying to drive home or trying to make it to Chandler and Gilbert and die in a car crash. They removed that. Now I'm in Arizona. I'm like, where are the police? People are drunk driving every night. Shootings are happening everywhere. No one's being arrested. I've heard and I've seen that they've cut the budgets the same way in the other blue states and blue governors. They've slowly but surely cut down the budgets of the police departments. They're not able to do investigations. There's less officers, less hours. They can't be everywhere at once. A lot of people get away with crime, just like in LA. You can get away with any crime you want in California right now. There's no one coming to get you. There won't be a thorough investigation. You know, whoever your victim is, too bad, too sad. Now, this person who shot this man and his family, apparently he stayed on the scene. It just seems like this was two men with tempers and egos talking crazy. One of them was serious and the other one was playing. And the serious one came back and he apparently tried to neutralize the threat and he shot into a car full of kids. You know, two angry men. I don't know if they were both black, but probably. Because who else is going to, remember on the Boondocks, they called it a nigga moment. Two black dudes could be the only black people in the area. They will find each other and there will be a nigga moment. Instead of stepping on someone's Jordans, you accidentally cut each other off while backing out of some fucking parking spaces. Now, I'm not here to judge. I've done it myself. Me and this big time, one of your favorite rappers, we literally pulled weapons out on each other on Manchester in LA one day and almost got into a shootout because he was trying to cut me off to make it onto the freeway. I have no idea. And I'm trying to get over. And then he swings up on side of me in his truck and I'm in my big car. And I was able to get mine out before he could get his out. That could have changed the whole course of history. The movies he's been in, the albums he put out, none of them would have ever occurred. I could have changed history because of my temper, because I didn't know how to control myself, because I'm not thinking about that it's not me, but it's the people that it's the people that survive. You know, you can be selfish about your life and you can say you don't believe in God and you don't care and you're this and you're that. But remember, it's your family that's going to bury you, right? And where are they going to bury you? In a church. And they're going to have a pastor that's going to go up there with a Bible and read verses. So even though you don't believe in God, the people that survive you, they do. And they're still going to have to put together something, a memorial in your name. But now they're burying you and your young daughter, and your wife is now going to have to be in charge of doing this. And your other two surviving children are going to have to live the rest of their lives knowing that their baby sister, a small, tiny baby, died because their father had a temper problem and couldn't just apologize, let bygones be bygones, and get on. Now, I can see if the other car, he says, hey, I'm sorry, the other car pulled in front of him, blocked him in, and was like, no, that's not good enough. Then you can't avoid it. That happened to me in Houston, maybe like a year ago. The guy wouldn't let me leave. Yeah, he was mad at me over a girl. Like, the girl's trying to jump in my car. He's like, well, if she's going with you, I'm going with you. I said, no, sir. I said, it's a private party. I have my other two friends in the car with me. My other two guys were visiting me. And he insisted. And when I said no, he began to curse me out, call me names. And I realized how much I've matured. I just said, okay, I'll be a bitch. I'll be everything you want me to be. But you're still not coming to my house. As a matter of fact, take your girl and leave. I don't know why you guys are still here. Take her and go. Go get in your car. Go home. You're following us. Why are you over here with us? He wouldn't let up. And there's three of us. It's me and my other two dudes. We're all athletes. We're all big dudes. You can tell the guy was from California because he had that accent. We have it. We talk a certain way. And I'm wondering, why are you still here trying to provoke a fight? Now, I can understand his girlfriend was trying to leave with me. Or I don't know. I don't think she was his girlfriend. She was just a girl he was just following around. She was cute. Cute little Mexican chick. And he just proceeded to not take her to leave. So I pushed the buttons to let the wings down on my car. The car door hits her in the head. Oh, you hit her in the head with your car. You're this, you're that. And then I'm like, bro, that would have never happened if you had taken her and got the fuck away from me. Why are you here, bro? I don't want any trouble. I don't want any smoke. You win. You win the argument, bro. I'll be a bitch. I'll be whatever you're calling me. Just leave. At the time, there's police around. They're watching the whole thing. And they're like, you've asked the guy like 4 times to move so you can leave. And he wouldn't let me close my doors so I couldn't drive off. I have wings on this car. So I couldn't pull off. So I finally just get out the car because I'm like, okay, where is this going to go? It's already been a few minutes. And he's still talking, just, kind of like spitting on me, talking crazy. So I'm thinking the only time anybody's going to be this brave and bold against someone like me, they got a gun, they got a weapon, like the guy here in this traffic incident. So I reach around, I reach around him to frisk him. The man pushes me and says, what are you trying to hug it out? You some kind of punk? You trying to hug it? You trying to hug me? You trying to hug it out? Even my friends were like, yeah, Rico, you're hugging him? You guys are hugging it out? And I was like, you guys are misunderstanding the whole situation. I'm just making sure you don't have a weapon. I was like, you're doing all of this with no gun? And that's the thing, it was 50-50. If I had let the temper get the best of me and he did have a gun on him, maybe I'm not sitting here today. See, that's the reason why you have to control your anger, especially when you have small, dependent children who are literally dependent on you. You can't help your kids if you're in jail. You can't be there to protect your kids and watch them grow up if you're dead. Your temper cannot get the best of you where you're hopping out of a car in a road rage incident. This is probably the 5th road rage shooting murder that I've seen in Arizona since I've been here. And that was barely over a month. And I'm like, why is everybody out here shooting and killing each other over road rage incidents? Apparently it's just a stressful place to live. It's not like a very calm and laid back place like Houston. It's very tense. It's kind of like Austin. And you would think that these would be places that would be nicer. No, these places are high stress, high tense places. And you know what it is? I've noticed any cities that I've ever been to in the country where the cost of living is rising extremely fast, the rates of violence are also rising extremely fast. In LA, our cost of living is so ridiculous. And then It literally correlates with the high violence rates. But in areas that are cheaper and the cost of living is not just skyrocketing overnight, like in Texas and in Houston, certain parts, you don't see that amount of violence. You don't see that anger and that frustration and that desperation. You don't see that. So that's why I always tell people, you got to be careful about where you choose to live, where you choose to be around. You know, this is something that could have been avoided, but a father, a man who had 3 beautiful children and his daughter. You know, this reminds me of when Kobe and his daughter died. You know, yeah, they're not going to get the same type of attention, but that's why I'm doing this video and putting it out there so my audience can see this. But let this be a learning lesson. You know, I got a lot of flack. I did a video of a woman who pulled out a bat on this guy who she was trying to scam for some money, saying that he hit her car with a shopping cart. Black woman. I think she was black. And the guy, she pulls out a bat on the guy, pops the trunk, tells him all this craziness, digs in her trunk, grabs a bat. Now, what if she had grabbed a gun? Luckily, the man was armed. He pulled out a gun on the woman, and she had 2 small kids in the car. That's my problem. That's what people were mad at me about. Oh, Rico, you're highlighting that. I'm not highlighting it. I'm teaching you to learn from it. The same thing that happened to this man and his kids could have happened to that woman and her 2 granddaughters that same day. Be honest with you, I wouldn't have let her turn around with a bat. I would have assumed she was grabbing an AK-47. That man had a right to shoot her in that parking lot of a Home Depot or Lowe's, same as this one. I supported it. He could have shot her, but he didn't. And he told her, you put that bat down or I'm going to put 3 in you. People were mad at me for sharing the video and doing a commentary about it. I have no idea why. That could have been this right here. You know, you can't come out here. This is not California. In California, no one has weapons. No one, you're not really supposed to. So people are literally just punching on security guards, punching on other people. And I guess it's kind of like the jungle. The biggest and strongest survive. But in a state like Arizona, it doesn't matter how big you are. We have guns. So a firearm is what they call the great equalizer. Now we're equal. You could be a giant, I could be a midget, but with this gun, we're the exact same size. Now we have the same odds. That could have been that woman that everybody was giving me a little flack about on the internet. And now look, you know, it's kind of like, it's in a way I predicted this. I made that video so that hopefully this man would have seen it and learned from it and made a better decision yesterday. But enough of you are not sharing my content. We're not talking enough about these situations. This is a tragedy that could have and should have been avoided. But if you got a bad temper and that other man has a bad temper, that's a car accident in slow motion and nobody can get out of the way.
She just got so many awards in school. I was at school. She got escalate attendant. She got honor roll. She was so happy. She was so bouncy, had this long, beautiful hair.
Family members tell us Alexis is in a medically induced coma and will have to undergo facial reconstruction surgery.
They let her up for a little minute, and when she was up, she could only write on the paper, and she was just writing her baby name, just her baby name, just her baby name on both sides of the paper.
As for their other young daughters, 5-year-old Navy has a bullet in her leg that can't be removed, but she is out of the hospital. 1-year-old Alani was not hurt. Phoenix police are still investigating what led up to the shooting. Tonight, the family's question is why.
I'm not even about to have no holidays because I don't have my babies no more.
The shooter stayed on scene and was taken into custody. And tonight, Phoenix police confirmed charges have been filed against him. He's been charged with 2 counts of murder and multiple counts of aggravated assault. Live in Chandler, I'm Molly McBride for Arizona's Family.
Regardless if he's convicted of murder or not, these people are gone. Their relatives are gone. All because they could not control their tempers. Think about the consequences and consider each other's families and loved ones before making a decision. You know, sometimes people don't realize, as the men in these relationships, as the men in your family, a lot of times you're the glue. You're the breadwinner. You're the leader. You're the protector. You have 3 daughters. You need to be alive and free for every day of them girls' lives so that they can stand a chance in this world. But if you throw your life away over some petty parking dispute, over some nonsense of fighting over a TV on Black Friday or just something idiotic, then you're no good to no one. You're no good to yourself. You know, as a man, if you can't protect your family, then what good are you? You know, was this fight to protect your family? No. If he's in the Charger, or depending what car he's in, both of those cars could have went forward or went backwards and left. It was unnecessary for them both to get out of the car to fight. You got to grow up. What, a pissing contest to show who's tougher? You know, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is all of these confrontations, your odds of surviving are only 50-50. Do you really want to gamble with the future and the lives of your family, and the odds are only 50-50? That's why I prefaced it by starting this video off saying, as men, we have to do better. We have to. And I hate to bring politics into it, but conservatives don't do that. This was a Democrat on Democrat crime. And, you know, you got to get out of that mindset, or the tragedies that await you are numerous. And we make videos like this about it. You know, hopefully somebody else will watch this video. My audience has grown since that last one, and maybe this will make a difference. Maybe you'll think twice before you make some of these decisions. It's not worth it. Like and subscribe, share the video. I'll be back on with another live in a few minutes with some more news topics. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.